At my age, you know I've been to a lot of doctors. Healthcare partners, they really care. They're concerned about your health. They're all the best. I am Roberta, and I am a healthcare partner. Visit hcpnv.com to hear my story.
News 46 is brought to you by Comfort Hospice Care, where we give our patients and their loved ones peace of mind, knowing we provide the highest quality of care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, call 751-0349. News is also brought to you by Bees Embroidery and Garment Printing, specializing in custom and personalized decoration of gifts, garments, and more. Call 775-727-9444.
Tonight on News 46, Assemblyman Oscarson gives a fire update.
A lucky dog takes a trip to his new home.
And KPVM says goodbye to one of our own. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Rick Vale and Monique Mitchell. Local coverage from Deanna O'Donnell. News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, July 17th, 2013. I'm Rick Vale.
And I'm Monique Mitchell for News 46.
This morning, News 46 spoke to Assemblyman James Oscarson regarding the Carpenter 1 fire and a recent tour he took of the fire grounds.
We're here at Assemblyman James Oscarson's office. He's going to give us an update about his tour with Senator Pete Gokachia at the Carpenter 1 fire.
We were fortunate enough to be able to, on Monday, spend some time with Rich Harvey, who's the incident commander for the Carpenter 1 fire. He took us up to the site. We were able to visit Kyle and Lee Canyons and see what was going on up there. I'm pleased to tell you that those groups integrated seamlessly with not only Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue, but with BLM and National Forest Service, and all those groups came together to produce as good a result as you could have in these kinds of situations, unfortunately. We're very pleased that there was no loss of residences or lodges or any of those kinds of things that happened up on the Mount Charleston side, on the Las Vegas side. On our side, the Trout Canyon homes were protected as well. There were some things at Prospector Ranch, some buildings and a lodge that were lost, and we consider ourselves pretty lucky for that to have happened, and only very minor injuries on the fire side as far as we know so far. The restoration process starts almost immediately, actually before the fire's out. We've already had a meeting with some of the Clark County folks, Senator Gokachia and myself, talking to the USGS and other folks to see what we're going to do to mitigate some of the flooding issues that could potentially happen. We attended that meeting in support of Nye County to make sure that anything we could do to support them will happen. They're in pretty good shape as far as the applications that they've done federally and state-wise to ensure that they get the funds that they need. But again, that rehab process starts even during the fire in some instances to make sure that there's things in place to mitigate any kind of issues that may come from bare slopes and water coming down those slopes at a quick rate of speed. A couple things I wanted to mention here. One of them is it's rewarding and very very helpful to know, and I think the people should know, the residents of these communities that have been affected by this, that there was almost a seamless integration between BLM and Forest Service and Clark County Fire Department, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, Nevada Highway Patrol, Pahrump Valley Fire Rescue, and any of the other entities that have been involved in this process. Seamless. We opened the community center to them. They took over that whole area, and there was at one point in time there was a significant number of people there. They set up an entire camp at the Petrack Park area. And those were all great things. I think as we go forward, we just need to continue to be sensitive to those people's needs. I know that the Forest Service, the Red Cross, is assisting in those endeavors to make sure that the folks up in Trout Canyon who don't have a water supply system at this point, they're trying to restore that, are utilizing water, and they're taking water back and forth up there. And the Red Cross has been tremendously helpful in those efforts to them. There's one thing I want to make sure I add, and that is the integration that happened within this community with Pahrump Valley Fire Rescue, Chief Lewis, Nye County Emergency Services, Vance Payne. Those folks were all integral in making sure that not only did we work together with all the entities that were here. But it's important to know that the resources are here available in this community to do that, and I think it would have been very difficult to have done without them. So I heard over and over again at the Incident Command how great the response had been, not only from our community, but from the leaders of our community and the emergency services and the fire rescue area. So we're grateful for that, and certainly it makes everybody's job easier.
I am Jennifer Moots here at Assemblyman James Oscarson's office for News 46.
Jennifer Mutz gives us an update on the Carpenter 1 fire.
Residents and business owners are now allowed back into Kyle Canyon, but it will not be open to the public until Friday, July 19th. The general public will be given access to Trout Canyon, Lovell Canyon, Lee Canyon, and Kyle Canyon on Friday, July 19th. Fire personnel are still patrolling the damaged areas and are controlling hot spots on the mountain. The Carpenter 1 wildfire has spread to almost 28,000 acres, but is now 85% contained. 722 personnel are working on containing the fire. The date for full containment is expected to be August 18th. And James Bilbray Elementary continues to serve as a Red Cross reception center, open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. The date for full containment has been changed to August 18th. This is Jennifer Moots reporting for News 46.
Well, at least 22 school children died in northeastern India after eating free school lunches that contained a poison. More than 25 others were hospitalized in Bihar state, and 3 are critical after ingesting an insecticide that was in the food. The poison was a common chemical used in agriculture, which is also a nerve agent used in chemical warfare. Exposure to a high dose can cause an irregular heartbeat, difficulty breathing, paralysis, and seizures.
Well, Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval has signed a memorandum of understanding with the governor of the state of Mexico on mutual trade interests. Sandoval's office said that the governor signed the agreement pledging to work together on such issues as education, tourism, manufacturing, and mining. Sandoval is visiting Mexico with the members of state and local economic development agencies, as well as higher education representatives and members of the business, legal, and investment communities. The trip is Sandoval's 3rd trade mission outside the country since he took office in January of 2011.
And folks, there's some new ways to prevent surgical site infections. We'll have more on this after the break.
How swabbing noses and getting rid of razors are helping hospitals beat dangerous infections.
So far, the results have been excellent.
Next in Prescription Health.
Today's news is brought to you in part by Dr. George Leeks, Pahrumps optometrist since 1990, offering full-spectrum eye care for children and adults. Call today, 727-8300.
Welcome back to News 46. They go in hoping surgery will fix their problem, but come out with a potential deadly dilemma. Every year, 300,000 Americans get a surgical site infection. A recent report found they're the most common healthcare-associated infections in the U.S. Now, a new prevention program is helping cut those numbers. Andrew McIntosh has the story.
This health tip is brought to you by Humana.
Visit our local office in the Pahrump Valley Junction Shopping Center or call 775-727-0871.
Marilyn Fedor had a bad hip.
Pain is stabbing.
So she got a new one. Doctors started prepping her for surgery 14 days before the operation because
Surgical infections are a big problem.
bacteria that's already on a patient's skin can get into the incision and cause the infections. Dr. Brian Tawney says if hip and knee replacement patients get an SSI, typically their implant has to be taken out and they're put on IV antibiotics.
Typically for 6 to 8 weeks before that joint replacement can then be put back in.
Now Project Joints is reducing that risk. Patients go through an educational class before their hip or knee replacement. Then
They receive a nasal swab. We find out if they carry staph bacteria.
for the final 3 days before surgery, patients use a special antibacterial antiseptic soap.
Well, you scrub your whole body down from the neck down. And then they said to do your leg, my bad leg, for 3 minutes.
And clippers are used at the surgical site instead of razors to help keep bacteria out of the body.
We try to avoid any additional nicks in the skin.
The University of Tennessee Medical Center's infection rate for knee and hip replacements was almost 2% before Project Joints. Now,
It has dropped to approximately 0.5%.
Marilyn says the extra precautions were worth the peace of mind.
I think it's wonderful.
I'm Andrew McIntosh reporting.
We don't know, you know.
And Project Joints is currently in hospitals in 8 states and is expanding to facilities in 5 more states. The doctor says right now the program is only being used for patients getting hip and knee replacements, but the goal is to use it in other joint replacements and orthopedic procedures.
Well, Mia the dog began her trip of a lifetime this morning, starting at Sniffany's Gifts and Thrift Store at the corner of Gamebird and Pahrump Valley Boulevard. She was adopted from the Symphony Animal Foundation website for the no-kill animal rescue owned by Lorraine Russo Harper.
How wonderful is Maya? She is beautiful. She is a purebred pit that we've had for over a year. And when Maya came to us, she had some behavioral problems, a little bit of aggression. We've had dog trainers work with her. She's been rehabilitated, and she is now ready for adoption, and she's got a wonderful home just outside of Houston, Texas.
Tell me about you and Maya's relationship.
Well, she is one of the dogs at Symphony Animal Foundation, and I am a volunteer with Symphony, and I am going to be transporting her to her new home.
So she's going to go meet her new owner in Colorado, but she's going to be living where?
She'll be at a ranch in Texas. Her new owner is so excited.
How did you guys come up with the new owner that lives in Texas?
Through our website.
So tell me about the plans for the trip. What are you kind of expecting? What do you have in store? How long is it going to take?
It'll probably take 2 days. Going to do it at a relatively leisurely pace. And her new owner, Marika, is at a dog show, so we're going to be meeting them there.
We've made arrangements for Maya's new family to meet us halfway, so they're going to be meeting in Parker, Colorado. So Lisa's going to be leaving here, heading to Parker. They're already there. They are so anxious to get her, and she's going to be living on a fabulous ranch in Texas with so many other animals, a great family who's loving her already and haven't even met her yet.
There you go. So for more information on Symphony Animal Foundation to adopt a dog or a cat or any other types of animals, you can go on the website.
You bet. www.symphonyanimalfoundation.org. You can always reach me on my cell, 702-528-4997. Stop by and see me at Wolfie's or Best Western. Come by Sniffany's at the corner of Gamebird and Pahrump Valley Boulevard. We have volunteer applications there, so if anybody is interested in volunteering, we would love to have your help.
And here's Jennifer Moots with your entertainment this week.
Glee star Corey Monteith died as a result of a mixed drug and toxicity involving heroin and alcohol. 31-year-old Monteith was found dead Saturday in a Vancouver hotel room after he missed his checkout time. Monteith spent time in rehab this year, checking into a drug addiction treatment facility in late March. He was going to be married to his girlfriend and co-star Leah Mitchell in a few months. The Cirque du Soleil show Ka returned last night at the MGM Grand. The show had closed its doors after the June 30th death of Sarah Guyette-Guyard, one of the show's acrobats. Cirque dedicated Tuesday's night show to the 31-year-old veteran acrobat and mother of 2. During the dedication, the announcer called Guyette-Guyard an exceptional and dedicated performer. Those few words spurred an outstanding ovation from the crowd. The final battle scene is no longer a part of the show because Cirque du Soleil says OSHA is investigating it, since that is the scene Guyette-Guyard fell 90 feet to her death. Rolling Stones magazine decision to put Jahar Tsarnaev, the accused Boston Marathon bomber, on the cover of its latest issue has ignited a firestorm of outrage online. The cover picture is one that Tsarnaev himself posted online and has been published widely by the other media outlets in the past. But many took exception to its prominent play in the Rolling Stone, where the space is more often than not reserved for rock stars and celebrities. Some called it glamorizing the accused murderer, stating that they will never buy the Rolling Stone again. I'm Jennifer Moots with your entertainment this week.
And let's join Angela Miles with today's first business brief.